Hey guys, welcome back to the Girlfriends and Goals podcast YouTube channel. My name is Samaria, and I am joined by my best friend and co-host Neosha. And we are reviewing Married at First Sight season 16, the finale. No, the reunion part 2.
Girl.
But definitely the last one that we'll be reviewing for this season. We will be back next season. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel so that you can be notified when we come back to review next season in Denver. All right. So we don't have too much about this episode. We have the conclusion of Kirsten and Shaq, and then
hmm
we have Dom and Mac, which they spent way more time on Dom and Mac than I expected. So
Not really though, because I feel like how things played out between them needed to be talked about.
okay.
Yeah, like they left and then there wasn't much to say clearly, once they stopped filming together. But
Yeah.
I think the way Dom carried herself, I think it was worth discussing.
Okay. I will say, speaking of Dom, we talked about not liking her dress last week. I feel like if she would have styled herself differently, maybe we would be having a different conversation. Like, yes, the dress was giving prom, but like I think the necklace and then the heavy eyes and the
Mm,
like, I think all of that and the hairstyle, like I think things could have just gone different. But okay.
okay.
You want to start with Shaq and Kirsten?
Yes. So Shaq says that he regrets his decision.
I don't believe him.
And I don't believe it. It
Yeah.
was so hard to watch, even when they got to the experts, but even before that, him still not just saying a yes or a no.
Yes.
Either you're in or you're out. He wants to straddle the fence. So I don't know why he said he regrets his decision.
I think maybe he watched himself back and realized, like, okay, she was trying. Like, I think he regrets checking out when he did,
hmm
because at least if he would have given it his all, then at the end he could have walked away confidently and said, okay, I gave it my all, she tried, and it just didn't work. But I think he realizes, like, I messed it up at a certain point. And
Yeah,
I think that's what
or
he regrets.
he regrets not giving it more time,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
maybe not his actual decision once he saw everything play back and it really hit him of, oh, okay, it was only 8 weeks. She was willing to at least say yes to give it more time, or he wants to be cool with her, be friends, cordial. Seems like he feels a way that it's all falling on him as the reason, maybe not the reason why they broke up, but
mhm.
I don't want to even say he's the bad guy. He did what he felt like he needed to do, but it's almost like he doesn't want to own the fact that he was
Yes.
the one that caused it or initiated the divorce.
And I think so to me, that's a mark of maturity. Like if you are going, or a mark of immaturity in his instance, because if you're going to make that decision, I need you to be a person who stands 10 toes down and says, hey, yeah, I didn't give it, my all, or I didn't give us more time, but I just felt like that's what I needed to do. Ultimately, I don't think she's the right person for me, and I don't think that I'm the right one for her. Like, I feel like he keeps saying stuff like, oh, I wasn't right for her. But at the end of the day, you have to realize, okay, maybe there were things that made her not right for you. And it's not
And there
fair for you to
were,
keep saying, oh, I couldn't satisfy her. Like, that's her decision to make. The decision you have to make is, could she be what you wanted?
which I think was a cop out because he kept mentioning that, oh, I didn't feel like I was good enough for her. To me, as a way to almost put it on her
Yeah.
without having to say it outright. But he spent the majority of the season complaining about the lack of support.
Hmm.
So if it was that too, then say that.
Do you feel like he would have had to step his game up a little bit to be married to Kirsten, and maybe he just wasn't ready for that move?
I think he would have had to step his game up, but I also think he would have had to pursue her.
Mm,
Kirsten wanted to be pursued,
yeah.
and I feel like Shaq also wanted to be pursued as well. This whole support, support, support,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think was his way of saying, I want her to pursue me, maybe not in the exact same way, but in the way that would resonate to
Like
him.
like falling head over heels,
But she was never going to do that
for people.
if
Yeah.
if you're not giving her something. I think she was willing to show up for him in a lot of ways. But
Mm.
even, I hope I'm not jumping ahead, but even when they met with the experts, he still wasn't really ready to profess his love and say what he's willing to do, or
And that's his
Shaq wanted to be
answer.
pursued.
And so I'll say this. I think a mature person would understand that that uncertainty he's feeling is his answer. Like, you're not uncertain because there are things to be uncertain about. You're uncertain because this is not what you want. And you need to be able to articulate that, you
And
know?
because he wasn't able to articulate it, that leads the experts and the
Kevin.
host,
Mhm.
Kevin, to keep pushing for them to try to work it out, try to work it out. I felt bad for her in that moment because it was giving her, I feel, a glimmer of hope. And he still really wasn't like she admitted, like, okay, there's work to be done,
Mhm.
but here she is saying, hey, I need this, I need that. He's like, oh, well, we just, I got to do is going to work for me and what's going to work for her.
Yeah.
Well, clearly, I think if he would have,
Yo,
I,
Shaq.
th- I think if he would have stood in the fact that there were issues aside from me feeling not good enough for her,
Mhm.
I don't know if they would have taken that route. But
Yeah.
this whole he and Han and this way and that way, oh, I don't know.
Yeah. I
No,
think
you know,
she's
and she's not the one. Just say it.
and I think she's more ready for that next step than him. Like, even her being able to say, "It's one and done for me. Like, we had our chance, we missed it." And I understand the pressure and what made her say, "Okay, well, I'm open to it. We can have the dinner."
Mhm.
But I think ultimately, hopefully, her decision is it's one and done for us. And that's how it needs to be. Shaq isn't a horrible person or anything like that. Like, I think he was one of the maybe like the best men selected for this show.
Mm.
But I think he's just not at the place where he needs to be for a marriage with her because she's 1000% ready. Like,
And he should have known that by the fact that she wanted to keep their marriage under wraps
mhm.
until things were for sure. It,
Yeah,
and I think for him, because he was never tied to Nashville in terms of roots and this is where he was going to be. And
yeah,
clearly, if you accept a job offer and you pick up and move within a short period of time of the show, you weren't really
committed.
invested that much in Nashville versus this is where her family is, friends, this is where she
Mhm.
foresees herself living for a while. And so she would have to be in a city where people would know, oh, you participated in this. Yes, clearly it was going to be on national television, but people within her close circle or peripheral would also know. And if it doesn't work out, she'd still be there.
And she is still there. Like,
And
that's
she is
literally
still
what happened.
there.
Yeah, but I get that whole, I don't wanna be out with you this week and I have a husband, and then next week, they see me, or a month from now, they see me and they're like, "Oh, where's your husband?" And you're like, "We divorced," So I
And
get
the
that.
majority of the season, he spent the time like, well, I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't like Nicole and Chris where it was like, okay, they're probably going to say
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Yeah, so she definitely wasn't secure in the relationship, and I know we always talk about her in the beginning. I do think I wish she would have come around quicker, but I think she came around kind of fast. So it was a long time for us reviewing it, but within the first 2 weeks, she started to come around.
I think so.
Definitely before their first month.
And they also became intimate. So any reservations he may have had about, is she attracted to me? Does she like me? Yeah, we didn't hear about it, but when we did, we didn't hear her complain about it.
Hmm. Yeah,
So I think that should have put it to rest his feelings of, oh, is she into me? Is she not into me?
yeah.
Clearly she's into you.
They're great people. He needs to focus on his career, which it seems like that's what he's doing since he moved. And has a great position now. So yeah, I think They're great people, just not meant for each other. And I wish people would stop pushing them.
And I will say, so we find out that before the reunion, they hung out.
Mm,
And this is where it's like, okay, Shaq, you hung out before the reunion. You say you're going to go out on a date the night of the reunion, maybe again in the future. Stop playing games.
right.
You,
Just make your
you want
decision.
somebody to be cool with in Nashville?
What did you think about them bringing the moms out? They were both so cute.
They are so cute.
Uh,
They really are. I loved Shaq's mom's outfit with the frills. That was so cute.
yes, it was
Yeah, I
perfect.
liked it. I'm glad his mom seems to have calmed down a bit versus the energy she was giving Kirsten. And she still considers her to be her daughter-in-law, especially after she's probably watched her son on TV. I'm
Good
sure
point.
affects her opinion of the process and them as a couple.
Yeah.
I mean, they have hope for them, that's fine, but even as a mom, because I'm a woman first, I would tell my son, like, okay, stop stringing this woman along.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you are going, don't pursue her to date her. Pursue her like, oh, okay, we've already been married. So
Mhm.
you're gonna have to come guns a blazing.
To right,
Really, really, you should be trying to win this woman back. And he
he has
still
to
was
do
just
so
kind of
much
like,
more. Yeah. It and I think he just wants them to be cool. That's the sense that I got the entire time.
you already have other homeboys from the show and your mentees in Nashville.
Right. You have coworkers that you used to have, like you have enough people in
We're
Nashville,
too grown to be hanging out like that.
especially when we were married.
And
Like,
you were married. And then how does that's not going to work if someone else is pursuing her or she's,
exactly.
with someone new. Oh, you're hanging out with your ex-husband and y'all don't have kids. Why?
Right.
Anyways.
That's crazy. Hang on one second. Okay, so I feel like when Kirsten's mom said stuff like, "Oh, they'll both be fine," neither one of the moms seemed gung ho about the idea of them being together. But whenever it would be brought up, they would just say, "Oh, they'll both be fine," which they will be. But I think even the moms realize it doesn't need to be together. And
Mm.
even if Shaq's mom doesn't realize it, I think Kirsten's mom definitely realizes because she was not committed to the idea of them being together at all.
No, and I wouldn't either. Like, yeah, he's a nice guy, but I don't need you on the fence, especially after you're the one that initiated the divorce.
Divorce.
And Dr. Pia was doing everything but screaming at him to try to get him to understand.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, I think before it would have required Shaq to just be serious about the marriage for it to work. But now that he dropped the ball, it takes so much more effort to get her to feel secure again, and all. And I
Mhm.
don't think he's willing to do that. So
And as a woman, I don't need nobody convincing you of what to say and do.
exactly, exactly. So
Mm-mm.
yeah, so that's definitely not gonna work. But I hope she enjoyed the dinner that he took her out to.
Yeah.
Um, so Shaq was saying that he just wanted to feel included, like with the whole family thing, which I understand. But
Mhm.
Kirsten's mom admitted, like, it was a thing where he kept saying, "Oh, I want to meet your family. I want to reach your family," and maybe it didn't click to her family because they had already met him. But she admitted that they could have tried harder. So at least that
Mhm.
takes some of the blame off of Kirsten. Like she did try, but her family just probably didn't see the importance. It's like, okay, he's married now and everybody's family is different. Like for them, it was like, we met you, we're cool.
That and there was still a decision to be made. I
Mm,
don't know. For me, if I were in this process, I don't know how much I would sweat being included with the new family just yet. My main focus would be us,
yeah.
especially if you are doing the PhD program, you're working, like
Hmm.
you already have a lot going on, let alone you yearning to spend time with my sister. Like
Yeah.
that will come if we make it through.
I can understand that. Okay. I think that's really it. She was saying
Mhm.
throughout the process she wasn't feeling secure. I wrote down that was her intuitioning, and she should have trusted that. Uh,
Mhm.
and when she felt insecure, he didn't reassure her, and vice versa. So hopefully they learned a lot from this process and go on and thrive in their new relationships because it doesn't need to be together.
No, it does not.
All right. Uh, did you have anything to say about them with the experts specifically?
I think I touched on everything I wanted to say about them.
Speaking of
And
Dr. Pia, though, so it seems like she's gonna be a part of next season's like decision making, like putting the couples
good.
together. And I think this is her first time being a part of that, at least
Okay.
from what we've seen. So I hope that we have some good matches next year. Who knows?
We
I
always have hope.
do always have hope. I'm being naive at this point, gullible.
Um,
Okay, Dom and Mac.
oh, gosh.
Where should we start? Okay, so I want to start with Dom saying something to the effect of if he wanted to be here, he wouldn't have let me go that easy. And I feel like there are moments, or there have been moments in this season where Dom has shown her age, and that was one of them. So, because it's like, why are you mad that you communicated what you wanted and the other adult accepted your wishes? What was he
Yes.
supposed to do?
Yeah, what was he supposed to do? And for me, the first half of this episode, Dom was making it seem like the reason why she ultimately checked out was because he wasn't settled.
Hmm.
But I think Dom checked out before that.
Yes, I
I
will.
think the way she acted on the honeymoon
Hmm.
in regards to just his personality, how he carried himself,
Him not
she
being
was
adventurous.
yeah, she was over him from that point,
Yeah.
really. And the icing on the cake may have been the whole, oh, he's not settled in Nashville. He doesn't have a place. The way she was talking and reacting to him, looking utterly annoyed and disgusted, she had better
Yeah.
checked out. Yeah.
I do think she had a point though with with the whole him moving to
Oh, of
Michigan
course.
thing, and he also didn't properly communicate. Oh no, I'm here in Nashville. Like this is where I want to be. Like I think that was an opportunity for him to reassure her and to be like, no, I plan on staying here with my wife. That is my goal. Because when the host asked him, he said he didn't communicate that. And so I wish
Hmm.
that he would have taken that opportunity to reassure her that he was in Nashville for the long haul. But I think the reason why he couldn't was because he wasn't committed to Nashville and he just showed up for the show. So,
I agree. I think her beef on the whole him not being settled in Nashville
mhm.
should have been with the experts. I
Hmm.
don't know why they would even pick someone from for this type of show and they just got there. I mean, Shaq sounds like had been in Nashville, but he's not there anymore.
Hmm.
People can move, I guess, at any point.
Yeah.
So, you I think it's more of him not being settled in his own place. When they showed up and saw he was staying in his friend's parents' basement, that
That's
should have been okay, you're not ready for this process. But so, and then I'm not saying that to defend him, but I can understand from his perspective of I didn't lie about this. They knew this and still picked me
hmm.
and didn't think it was an issue. So
Yeah.
from his perspective, I don't think I would have felt like I need to show up to defend what my living situation is if I presented it how it was and I was still picked.
Hmm.
That now does that make me the best candidate? Maybe not, but that's on the
No.
experts, I think.
Especially not for a 25-year-old who seems to have her own place and has her own stuff. Like I could understand how that's a mismatch for
Oh
sure.
yeah, it's a total mismatch. Not even mismatch. He shouldn't have been matched with somebody else who was staying in their friend's parents' basement. It was no, you just shouldn't be on this show
Yeah, at all. At all.
at all.
Um,
What made it so different? Would they have picked him if it was his parents on the first floor?
well, did Steve live with oh no. He didn't live with his parents. Steve from Boston.
Jasmine lived with her parents,
Hmm. But
so maybe it's different. It is.
okay, so it's different, I think, societally because Mac is a man and Jasmine's a woman, but also because Mac is like a 38-year-old man. or something like that, like
Mm.
36. I don't remember his age, but he is in his like upper 30s.
Mhm.
So I think that would make it more of an issue for me than
And for some men, even Jasmine living with her parents could be an
an
issue
issue.
of like, so I guess it depends on the person, but I still stand by. I think the experts messed up royally with that one. But even that aside, lack of adventure, his personality, the lying,
Yeah,
telling jokes, she was just not here for
she
any of
wasn't
it.
feeling him at all.
And later on, Mac let it slip that he wasn't as attracted to her supposedly. I don't know
Because
if
he
you
was into
caught that.
Gina.
Yeah, I'm like, well, where'd this come from?
Him trying to get to Gina. That's where it came from. So Dom said when she asked for the divorce, she did it so that he could like check. So sorry. She did it so that he could check her and be like, get your bags and put them in the room. I don't know. I think whenever you do something and expect a reaction, a specific reaction from somebody, just don't do that thing. Because whatever reaction it is that you plan out in your head, you're gonna get the opposite of it. It never works out the way that you envision it working out.
And
So
he don't even know you enough to fight. What would he be fighting for? He doesn't know yet. Girl, and maybe this is an age thing. I don't know. Y'all tell us in the comments, but I just don't even think they were at the point where he'd see what exactly he would be fighting for. On
mhm.
top of the fact that she wasn't the nicest to him on the honeymoon. So
Right. He's like,
part of
okay.
him may have been like, okay, maybe this is a sign that this is just, she wants to call it quits. She's been talking to me a certain way. She doesn't like my living situation.
Mhm.
Fight for what?
I don't.
But then she contradicted herself because later on, she
Uh,
was just like, oh, yeah, well, I said we might as well call it quits because it didn't make sense to, drag it out on TV and stuff. So really, you didn't want, you wanted him to fight for you so you could tell him no again.
right. That's exactly what she wanted. That's exactly what she wanted. And there was something else that she said that I was just like, what? Okay, when they showed the clip that they had never shown before, which they could have shown before because the season was boring. Like we needed some extra
Why
stuff
even hold all of this when we
for the
were
reunion.
half asleep the whole time?
Why? So she was saying that she felt like he was being petty with her and that him telling his family members to unfollow her
Mm.
on Instagram, that was petty. I don't think that's petty at all. I feel like if we were married for less than 2 weeks or 2 weeks max and we're not moving forward, there's no reason for my family to be following you on. So why would
And
they be
you
following you?
initiated it. You said that you didn't want it. Yeah, it's this weird thing of, oh, I don't want anything to do with you, but I still want to be connected in some type of way. On top of the fact, well, maybe I'm wrong. Does Instagram notify you when people don't follow you anymore?
No, when they unfollow, it doesn't. So
So
you would
how
have
would
to
you
go
know?
look.
So you went and looked.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, she did. Okay, so she didn't want him, but she wanted him to want her. And I think
Hmm.
when he was showing signs of, okay, girl, you want this divorce, I think it might have hurt her ego a little bit.
Yeah, maybe immaturity, unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
And Dom, based off the energy you got from the mom and the sister at the
Mhm.
brunch, breakfast, whatever that was, do you really want them following you?
You don't even want to be associated with that family, sis. Yeah. So, okay, I think that's really all that I had on. Apparently, I wrote something down about Shaq and them with the experts that I forgot to say, but we kind
Mm.
of touched on it. I said that he wouldn't be able to sustain like a relationship with Kirsten, and he wasn't saying 100% that he wants her as a significant other. So he was being really dodgy about it. And she was like, you need to be serious because I'm not something to play with. And I was like,
Mhm.
yes,
He
girl.
playing, he playing around.
He is. And Shaq, we like you, but you can't be doing this.
Mm-mm.
Did
Nope.
you have anything else on anyone?
On Dom.
Gina and Mac, I guess, went on a
That
date.
is just such a odd.
She was so giddy with him. I was like, where was this Gina with Dom all season? Did you see she was like she was all in her feminine
Maybe
energy.
because he was gassing her up. Like, you know, it feels good to be complimented. Like,
Okay.
what do you realistically, if someone's like, oh, you're beautiful, you're hot, you're this, you're that,
Okay.
you're hardworking, you know, he's saying all the right things.
Mm-hmm.
So are you just going to be sit over there and be like, no, you're going to be like, oh, thank you.
Quit was like, I already know she don't see it for me, so there's no point in me gassing her up. And yeah, you're right. He didn't. He didn't gas her
Yeah.
up.
I think may genuinely think that they could work. I'm just so shocked that she is as giddy as she is with all that I know about her. To me, they wouldn't be a good match.
Uh-huh.
Maybe for a date or two, but long term, I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I will say, what did she say? She said she's open, she's attracted to him, she's open for more dates and doesn't mind the long distance. And
Mm-hmm.
then I thought, okay, well, maybe this is why it could work, is because she wouldn't have to give too much
In
of
person.
herself day to day with
Yeah.
all of her commitments.
Yeah.
He's also running his own business. So I don't know. That made me think, okay, well, maybe that's why it clicks. And but I don't know how that really would lead to more commitment and more
Mhm.
marriage. It could just be a fun time.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Like, I'm attracted to you, you're attracted to me, and we could hang out, but nothing serious.
Yeah, she was happy to have somebody to have her back. Um, Yeah, I mean, I don't really see it. He mentioned that he wasn't as attracted to Dom. I don't know if he said that because that was true or if he just wanted Gina to feel even better about herself. She was smiling so hard.
Right. Okay. So we don't have any more episodes. We're not doing the where are they now or the a look back because that's overkill. But I think maybe the
Mhm.
new season probably starts in August and hopefully it's a shorter season than this was. But we'll be back for that.
Oh, wait.
What?
We missed a little bit about Dom and the experts. In her session, I wanted to talk a little bit about Dom, Mac, when she started crying.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I'm glad. I feel like there's the expert session with Dom and Mac,
Hmm.
specifically with Dom, is what I wish the experts would have did with Lindsay.
Shaq. Oh,
No, with
Lindsay.
Lindsay in Boston. Yes. And even Elijah a little bit. I feel like they at least Dr. Pepper's
I knew you
correct.
were gonna do that. As soon as you said
We
larger one.
can't we can't unhear it. But I feel like she was very direct but kind, objective in the criticism about how Dom carried herself
Hmm.
on this season. Of course, I don't want to see Dom crying about it. But I do think everything that was said needed to be said, just so that hopefully she could grow from this process. And of course, her just watching herself back, I think,
Hmm.
could do that. But in previous seasons, I felt that the reunion would come after we've all seen everything, the experts have seen everything,
Yeah.
and things that really needed to be said weren't said, specifically with what was Ben's wife name?
Morgan.
Morgan. That's a more recent one where I'm like, Dr. Pepper, see, this is the conversation you needed to have with Morgan. So
I can't believe you reminded me of that woman.
and
But
how she went unchecked.
mhm, very
Yeah.
much so.
But yeah, that was all I wanted to say.
All right. Well, we will see you guys. We'll probably put out some other like podcasts or I don't know. We'll put something out probably for the next season. But until then, y'all follow us on Instagram at Girlfriends and Goals Podcast. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and we'll see y'all when we see y'all.
All
Bye.
right, bye.